Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, I'm gonna present you about 3 topics under the Industry Code of Practice for a Safe Working in a Confined Space 2010. The first topic is the detailed requirement of the entry into hazardous atmosphere. Second one is the rescue and emergency services, and the last one is the duties of an employer as a contractor. Entry into a confined space containing hazardous atmosphere are allowed under following conditions. First, the atmosphere inside the confined space could not be brought to safe working conditions despite all reasonable effort made to purge, clean, and ventilate the space. The nature of the work procedure within the confined space is likely to degrade or contaminate the atmosphere in the confined space. For example, hot work, painting, changing of catalyst or removal of sludge, and introduction of air into the confined space would pose additional risk to health and safety aspects of authorized entrants and the activities carried out therein, or would detrimentally affect the product, equipment, or the other substance contained in the confined space. Under this condition, entry into the confined space are normally carried out under inert atmosphere. Authorized entrant entering into hazardous atmosphere shall use suitable self-contained breathing apparatus (SCBA), compressed airline breathing apparatus, or special life supporting system depending on the nature of works and hazard involved. For example, airline respirator and self-contained breathing apparatus, which are commonly available in refineries and chemical plants, do not provide adequate safeguards to cover risks associated with work in an inert gas or nitrogen atmosphere. Continuous gas monitoring for NEL shall be carried out during entry into hazardous atmosphere. Oxygen deficient atmosphere could have an effect on the reliability of explosimeter. For example, a standard catalytic gas detector could give false reading in oxygen deficient atmosphere and therefore requires special techniques and interpretation of result. Therefore, proper type of explosimeter which could give true indication of the level of flammable gas shall be used in the hazardous atmosphere. Hot work must not be undertaken if the explosimeter reading exceeds 1% NEL. Confined space shall not be entered if the explosimeter reading is equal to or greater than 10% NEL. If entry is still necessary, appropriate positive pressure air supply breathing apparatus shall be used and the entry shall be made under inert atmosphere. For the part of the rescue plan for entry into hazardous environment, an authorized entrant entering a hazardous atmosphere shall wear a safety harness with a lifeline attached to facilitate rescue operation in an emergency situation. Appropriate number of air supplied breathing apparatus shall be put on standby outside the confined space for use by the rescuer in an emergency situation. An authorized entrant entering a hazardous atmosphere shall carry with him an escape set or additional supply of breathing air cylinder for use in case of emergency. And in certain conditions, such as work inside spheres or tall columns, it may be necessary to use a safety harness in conjunction with a special winch or pulley or additional manpower. Where compressed airline breathing apparatus is used for entry into hazardous atmosphere, the airline company shall only operate on breathing air system using dedicated coupling with double locking mechanism. The condition of compressed airline systems such as the hoses and fitting, air purifying element, pressure relief valve, pressure regulator, pressure gauge, and the compressed air cylinder or compressor shall be monitored at all times. The purpose for introduction of inert atmosphere inside confined space are to prevent the flammable and explosive condition through elimination of fuel, air or oxygen, and energy in the form of heat, spark, or flame. For the prevention of chemical reaction or oxidation of substance contained in the confined space for the purpose of quality control or preservation of products, catalysts, or other substance or equipment inside the confined space. To prevent the other hazardous condition through elimination of corrosive, toxic, infectious, or harmful gases. These are several special safety considerations when working on the inert atmosphere. Asphyxiation effects may exist within several feet of an open manhole, so the area shall be barricaded and warning signage shall be conspicuously posted at strategic points. If the tank had contained a toxic substance, the concentration of this substance shall also be measured. A system shall be established to effectively maintain atmospheric pressure. A standby person and 2 others who are dedicated emergency response personnel are needed in case rescue is required. Provide an independent backup supply of inert gas for the preparation of primary supply loss. The need for the rescue of authorized entrant from a confined space and provision of first aid either in the confined space or after rescue from the space may arise. Therefore, the employer shall establish a rescue and first aid procedures, and provision needs to be planned, established, and shall regularly rehearsed. The employer may optionally to seek assistance from rescue services such as fire and rescue department, hospital, and others. Besides, the employer shall provide a regular training in the proper use of personal protective equipment. All personnel who may be involved in any way with rescues from a confined space shall be aware that well-planned and well-executed rescue procedures are essential and shall be followed at all times. And in an emergency, the spontaneous reaction to immediately enter and attempt a rescue from a confined space may lead to multiple fatalities, not only of those persons needs to be rescued, but also of those persons who attempt to rescue. There are some requirements applied to employers who have employees enter confined space to perform rescue services. The employer shall ensure that each member of the rescue service is provided with and is trained to use properly the personal protective equipment and rescue equipment necessary for rescue from a confined space. The emergency and rescue services team shall attend the course on rescue and emergency services conducted and certified by Malaysia's Fire and Rescue Department. Each member of the rescue service shall be trained to perform the assigned rescue duties. Each member of the rescue service shall also receive the training required of authorized entrant. Each member of the rescue service shall practice confined space rescue at least once every 12 months. Each member also shall be trained in basic first aid and in cardiopulmonary resuscitation (CPR). Lastly, each member of rescue service shall be certified physically and mentally fit to enter confined space. When the employer is a contractor, the employer shall obtain all available information regarding confined space hazard and entry information from the owner of industry. The contractor shall cooperate with owner of industry when both the owner of industry personnel and the contractor's personnel will be working in or near confined space. Brief the owner of industry on the implementation of the confined space entry program. Next, inform the owner of industry of any hazard confronted or created during the entry operation in confined space through a debriefing. If the contractor possesses the site, then they should comply with the duties of the owner industry and ensure that the permit user, entry supervisor, authorized case tester, authorized and trained and standby person fulfill their duties. That's all from me for this presentation. Thank you.